In order to make this video, two things needed to happen. One, I needed to get over the sound of my own voice and just accept that it's who I am. And as much as I hate the sound of my own voice, if I'm going to make content for my channel or continue to make content, I just better get used to it. And two, I need to come to terms with myself, face my inner demons by staring them in the face with my keyblade in hand as we gaze at one another across an open rotunda, with flames that surround us both, and within that pure moment of tension realize exactly what I have to confront. An emotional journey that would answer the lifelong question, why do I hate anime? So strap in, because you're in for a long one, and it's one hell of a fight. To say I hate anime is probably the farthest thing from the truth, although there have been many times where I have expressed my disgust or distaste for anime. In all reality, my relationship with anime is actually a lot more convoluted than that. I like to think I have a love-hate relationship with anime, or shall I say a love-ex-hate relationship with anime, hence the title of this video. Though I suppose I should start at the beginning before anime fans begin to swarm me like the Darklings from Traverse Town in Kingdom Hearts. Starting a YouTube channel is not easy. For months, if not years or more, I have waited for what seems like it was for nothing. It almost felt like the opportunity to finally be able to sit down in front of the mic and post my first video to present itself. Now that so-called eternity has become a reality, and not some dream or some wish that one day it would happen. Finally, with my setup complete, all that waiting had paid off. Now, stick with me for just a moment, you'll see where anime comes into play in just a bit. But make no mistake, only a select few of people who actually create content or those who express themselves creatively or in some type of artistic way understand the amount of stress that goes into big-time projects or starting the journey of becoming a type of creator. As someone who has a laundry list of goals and personal projects, I fully understand where it comes from. Let me tell you, no matter how much research I had done or no matter how many second guesses and reassurances I looked for, it just didn't work. Every video I watched told me to not worry about it or make something small, just to get over that first initial step in becoming a content creator. I was told by my friends that I should just post a small gameplay video or give a quick top 5. And as much as I hold my friends close to my heart, and I appreciate their advice, at the end of the day, they aren't in my position, and I don't want to make something small or a top 5 or a gameplay video. Your first video on the channel is going to matter. That's what's going to set the stage and the tone for the future. Granted, this isn't always the case, but for me, I want to make a video that makes an impact, a video that I can be proud of, a video that starts off the channel right, and shows that I take pride in creating quality content, and that the content that I do matters to me and to those who hopefully watch. For months I've been trying to figure out what type of video should I do? What should be my first video? What should my first video be? You know, what video would be interesting enough to watch and also have those who stumble across my channel learn a little bit more about who I am. I felt like if I made a traditional introductory video, I would be chained down to whatever roadwork I laid out for myself, knowing full well that the future holds infinite wonder and endless possibilities. And I know that whatever happens on this amazing adventure, and regardless of who comes along with me, is subject to change. I like to believe that if you post content you truly are passionate about, those who see that passion will follow. With months upon months of thinking and evolving on ideas, it dawned on me. I knew I wanted to post Kingdom Hearts content, seeing as though I am a mega fanboy, and I have been for as long as I can remember. And I also want to make Final Fantasy content, commentaries, roleplay videos, adventure videos, and curiosity videos. And I still do. I have a general idea of where I want my channel to go, a rough outline, which, as I said before, can't change, as that's part of the adventure. Now, what adventure videos and curiosity videos are is for a completely separate video, or maybe you'll have you find out for yourself. But it got me thinking. There are common similarities between the string of video types. A lot of content I'll be posting, and this is where anime comes into the picture, are all JRPG content. more specifically JFRPG content, and with some variation or deviation here and there, as there may be other videos that aren't in the genre but are still interesting to me and I would like to make. Sorry, I feel like I'm over-explaining. In any event, JRPG stands for Japanese role-playing game, and JFRPG stands for Japanese fantasy role-playing game. Putting the pieces together like a mosaic after gathering all the pieces, I saw that a lot of my content and even my channel profile picture in some form, one way or another, is anime related, which brings me to the title of this video, my love-ex-hate relationship with anime. I thought that by doing some kind of self-explanation, or starting the video off with some background, would really help me explain myself, as I know there will be a time where someone, or a group of people, or a comment, or something will be calling me out for, in quotation marks, for saying something that could be mistaken for or taken as anti-anime, or maybe if it is some remote or close form of anti-anime. Specifically when a lot of the content I do is related towards anime. So when looking at what my first video should be, what better way than to explain why I'm at pseudo-odds with the very genre that makes up the majority of my content. There are parts of anime that I do like, and there are many things about it that I enjoy. However, there are one too many aspects that prevent me from enjoying it at all, and this video is important because it will allow a glimpse of insight as to who I am, and I know I keep saying that, but in retrospect, I guess one could say that the more videos I upload, the more people will learn about me, and that's true. Yet, this video allows me some form of closure, a chapter in my life I could finally write the ending to and look at my defeated adversary with content. So what's the deal with me in anime, and why do I have such a stigma towards it? Back in junior high, I absolutely loved anime. I remember falling in love with anime as it was a resurgence, a rediscovery for me for when I used to watch it when I was younger. I was a complete weeb. I was bad. I was really invested into it, which isn't a bad thing, not at all. If you have something you love, I'm a supporter of being all kinds of invested into what you love most. For me at that time, it was anime. I loved it to death. I'd cry, laugh, sing, and clap along to the series finales of the animes that I watched. Call it weird, but anime is an art form, and you should always applaud heart-touching work. I applauded the end of the Final Fantasy games that I played, I applauded and cried at the end of every Kingdom Hearts game too, but when it comes to anime, I could watch it without subtitles if it wasn't dubbed because I can speak Japanese very well, and I knew that they were saying, I knew what they were saying thanks to subtitles and learning through speech pattern recognition, reading subtitles as they spoke, and I could associate what was being translated and practicing with, what they said. And I watched a ton of anime. Oh my god, everything from Sonic X to the original Yugi-oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Bs, Bakugan Battle Brawlers, Hunter x Hunter, Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, the original Digimon for the 2000s, Black Butler, Samurai X, Chrome Shelled Regios, Rosario plus Vampire, Full Metal Alchemist, Chaos Head, Blue Exorcist, Psycho-Pass, Samurai Champloo, The Seven Deadly Sins, Fairy Tail, Code GS, I think it's called GS? I was always unsure the pronunciation. Gurren Lagann, Spice and Wolf, Sword Art Online, geez, we'll get to that later. Soul Eater, the list goes on and on. You can name it, I've watched it, probably in both English dub and in Japanese. Hell, there was a time in junior high where I spent a whole summer laying in bed watching anime. I think I was sick for a large while of the summer too, but I know it was 8th grade going into high school, and I was a total weeaboo when it came to anime. I watched so much, and I loved drowning in this world of colorful animation with heart and beauty and acceptance and extreme positivity, strong and unforgettable friendship. It showed how powerful the heart, courage, friendship, determination, and the will to achieve something, no matter how far it seemed to be, truly is, and anything was obtainable, no matter how bad things got. It was truly a positive message. All my life I've been alone, isolated. I had no friends, and in a lot of cases I still feel that way. But when people were my friends, in quotation marks, they ended up backstabbing me, ditching me, or completely betraying my trust, or doing something that I believed was selfish or immoral. Yet again, it wasn't surprising due to where I had to grow up. My parents were never really around. Granted, I'm sure they had their reasons, but my childhood was a bit chaotic, not to say the least. And as much as a mess as that is on its own, and a history that in part influenced me to make this channel, to kind of start over and escape the past and to become free, I will say that video games got me through that. Still do, and so did anime. Now, one thing to mention, of course, is this isn't meant to be a sap story. I'm not looking for sympathy, nor am I looking for an excuse to get more views and subscribers. I didn't give enough detail to paint the whole picture, and if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to keep it there. And my continuing rough go at life isn't the focus of this video, it's anime. You see, anime, a lot like video games, made me feel like I had friends, a family, a group of people who accepted me. It made me feel like I wasn't the only one who had problems, that there were others who struggled and had it just as bad as I had, or in some cases do. And I felt a comfort in that. I felt like there was a family. I felt like it was a family. A story that I could get wrapped up into and feel warm watching, no matter how gritty the plot may become. I felt like I was in a world that mattered, a world that brought life to a person who had none inside him. Anime brought life to a world that was gray and defeating. It made me feel like I was brought on an adventure. I love to go on adventures. I wish I could go on some of the adventures as some of these anime characters did, or at least go on some of the adventures that I witnessed them go on. Now, I could say that since I've traveled all over the states and have been to other countries such as China, for example, I have had adventures, and as true as that may be, going on a plane and anime adventures with your best friends isn't really the same thing. You know, going on an anime adventure, imagine how awesome that would be. However, that feeling of a surreal atmosphere faded away. After a while, the reality set in. And this is where I grip my keyblade tighter, and I ready myself as I begin the first step in the dance of inner conflict, with the demon who I once thought was my friend is now the very thing I find hard to call such a powerful name. Like many mediums of entertainment, anime presents a false sense of reality, a false sense of how the real world truly operates. Call me negative and pessimistic, but I prefer the term realistic. But perhaps that's part of my issue. I'm too realistic, and I need to embrace that overly positive outlook on life and reach for the stars. And I think that by starting this channel and pursuing this adventure, that is the very start that I need. Yet I find myself struggling to do so. But maybe that's something I should work on. I'm not opposed to it. I just have had my expectations and ideals destroyed before me one too many times. Regardless, it's something to contemplate. Anyways, I'm getting off track. You have to understand that, like most forms of entertainment mediums, the video games and anime, for example, are a form of escapism. But I think the problem, well, one of many, is that the very form of escapism has become toxic to the point where it has changed those around me and the very society and internet culture that I am living in. When looking at the problems with anime, I have narrowed it down to the following 6 problems. Unrealistic perceptions of the world, over-dramatic personas, cliche character tropes, stereotypical encounters, false messages about hope and love, and lastly, influential attitudes and rewards. I think that's about like 5 or 6. Each and every one of those I can explain it in depth, but when we dig deeper and we really look at what the sole root of the problem is, when we look at those 6 problems, or 6 problems, when we look at where it really comes from, it's one of the 7 deadly sins. It's one of the homunculus. It's one that inspires you to erase yourself and become someone completely new. And not for the better, but for the worse. In return, you sell your soul to be someone you wish you were. The sole root of the problem I have with anime is envy. Raw, pure envy. It all began with Sword Art Online, probably one of the worst animes to ever be made and grace the genre. You see, Sword Art Online was, commonly called SAO, cashed in on the hype of the gaming culture during the time period of 2013 to 2015, within almost a capture of 6-year popularity. I've noticed that people began to start acting like the main protagonist, Kirito, a loner, solo gamer, and was all about being the best in the world, or at least within whatever game they were playing, or in this case he was playing. Now, this is where it begins to hurt a little bit. I was always a solo gamer, and when watching SAO, when Kirito was asked he's a solo gamer and why not with friends or strangers, he would give the same answers as I would. And you know what? That was planned. You see, digging deeper into the creation of SAO, the creator of Sword Art Online, Rikai Kawahara, didn't know the first thing about video games, or gamers in general, but he knew the basis of gaming culture, the common knowledge of relatable experiences. And I don't want people to think that he is responsible for the toxicity that is now the anime culture or community. Granted, from my experience and in-depth research and living within the very culture I'm talking about, I can say he certainly started it. But I don't think that was his intention. But people on the internet don't help either, as they began to plaster SAO all over the walls. Kawahara purposely took relatable factors and experiences and put them into an almost perfect, little to no flaws, attractive young boy targeted towards teens, specifically male teens, who are into gaming. As SAO grew in popularity, everyone around me on the internet, and more importantly in real life, began to want what he got. They wanted to be the best. They wanted to have a harem of women. They wanted to be trapped inside a video game where if you die in the game, you die in real life. They wanted an adventure like his. They wanted godlike skill, reaction time, and gaming skills. Why? Why would you want any of that? Because real life is boring. Real life is boring, real life is dull, and realistic. Whereas the world of SAO is a colorful, energetic, and full of possibilities to get lost into. But more importantly, they want to be like him because he got what everyone else couldn't. Title, prestige, multiple women, though he only got with one, adventure, and godlike skill. And it was rubbed in everyone's faces. And I'm starting to see that everywhere I go. Constant rubbing of faces into a pile of toxic waste known as anime. And what really sucks? They begin to praise the very thing that they couldn't have. When I was in high school, people put this fictional character, Kirito, up on a pedestal. For all his looks, accomplishments, impeccable skill, constant praise and attention of his unbroken mental state and how perfect of a human he was and how he could achieve the impossible. They put him on a pedestal for his girlfriend and how he had many girls who wanted him, where in reality, in real life, it's more guys chasing girls than in the case of SAO, since it was targeted towards male teens. Let's be honest, most guys, teens or not, want girls to chase them and not the other way around. I think that goes for females as well, but people put them, or him specifically, on a pedestal for that, and it was sickening. Now, any gamer will tell you that there is more than just reaction time and knowledge of the game in order to be very good at whatever game that you're playing, but Sword Art Online, SAO, ignored that and captured what people wanted, and this is where the descent of human character really begins. The internet began to plaster SAO all over the walls. They began to start worshipping and praising how wonderful and amazing these characters, the story, the art, and the effects were. How amazing it would be if only they too could be in an anime and live an anime lifestyle. Little did they know, it was possible. Social media began to promote cosplayers, anime enthusiasts, anime veterans like myself and many others, along with being able to manipulate the minds of those who scrolled endlessly late nights, that people dressed like these characters or ones of their own actually were able to live a lifestyle very close to those characters that they would have loved to live as. I can't tell you how many times I've seen posts on Twitter, Instagram, and other social media where I've seen photos and groups of people cosplaying as anime characters or acting like those characters in real life. A group of people just going about their day acting like they're in an anime. And no one finds this weird? No one finds this odd? I swear it's just me. Because they're getting hundreds of likes and comments begging to be just like them. It makes me sick. I can't understand how people would actually believe that being a fictional character is better than being who you are. What many don't understand, that the reason why anime is so engrossing and so amazing to watch is because it's the only art form that captures storytelling differently. Anime does what other animations, movies, and even cable TV can't do. It captures emotion. Anime is all about emotion. Everything from their facial expressions to the background and focus lines, or even just how they express themselves. They're over the top, they're vocal in their emotion, and they show expressions and emotions that humans can feel but not physically express. If you were talking to somebody and suddenly just belted out with emotion and start screaming at the top of their lungs about how passionate they are about something, you'd laugh. You wouldn't be able to take them seriously. You'd find it weird and uncomfortable. You'd ask, the hell is this guy or girl doing? And why are they screaming about how bad they want something? But in the case of anime, it's acceptable because they are portraying emotions that we as people can feel but wouldn't express in real life. Another thing, anime can express emotions that are hard for humans to describe, but you know what it feels like. Humans can't do that. There's a French term for it, but unfortunately it escapes my mind at the moment. If anybody knows, make sure to leave that down in the description below, as there's a French phrase for not being able to describe a certain ambiance within your surroundings. But getting back on topic, I guess I can't blame them. I mean, I can't blame those who love anime. You know, hell, I was one, remember? I mean, look at the trapped position you're in. In real life, you're stuck with who you are, your body, your teeth, your hair, your face, you're stuck. Not everyone has perfect genes. Some people who aren't good looking have kids, and then those kids get upset when they see that they aren't good looking because they're comparing themselves to other kids or to these fictional characters. And it's not just kids either, it's teens and adults. People my age, people in their 20s and over. And if you want all that to go away, it costs enormous amounts of money, or you need to learn all the insider tips and tricks that no one will tell you about. I get it though. I understand. Everything's better fictionally. All the imperfections go away, your self-confidence is boosted, you can smile and your braces don't show, your teeth are perfectly straight and free without having to go to the dentist or buy over-the-counter liners at your local drugstore. They're bleach white and you look attractive no matter what, and you can totally rock that mage costume that you bought for last Halloween. Or was that just me? That's not the point. The point is that I get it. In a fictional world, you're in shape, you're fit, the running never stops. You can jump high, vault over obscure obstructions and obstacles with smooth and fluid motion. In a fictional world, you can parkour or ninja run, or as you guys like to say, Naruto run your way through life, and no one cares or notices, only when there's a battle going on. In a fictional world, you can live carefree and live however you want, with the mindset of, no matter what happens, you'll never give up the fight, that the voice inside you says you'll go on. It doesn't matter who's wrong or who is right. Anything that could happen to you and you'd rather get stronger from it, or gain an ability, or get saved by your love interest or one of your pals you adventure with, and you'll be whisked away 1 second before you were supposed to die. In a fictional world, you could lose an eye, but in turn gain the ability to see your opponent's moves before they do them with some kind of magic to compensate for the lost eye. But in real life, if you lose an eye, that's a handicap. In real life, if you get slashed across the stomach with a 6-foot blade, you'll bleed out and die. In real life is unfair. It's always against you. There's nothing to save you if you fail. I get it. Fictional worlds, places, characters, they're all downright awesome. But the problem with social media is all you need is a phone, the right moment, and the right timing, and the right lighting, and the caption of you just losing it, and people will make assumptions about you that feeds into their envy. Let me give you an example. We're going to do a little experiment, but first, did you know that people are more comfortable in groups than alone? There's a whole science in psychology you can study that proves that people act differently when they're around their peers and friends rather than they're with authority or famous people, for example. I highly suggest you look into it. Now for the experiment. I want you to close your eyes. Go on, close them, just for a moment. Here's the experiment. Imagine you're in a mall, okay? Imagine you're in a mall. You're wearing fantasy clothing, maybe a cool outfit with large boots and way too many zippers, but it looks cool, so who really cares? You have a giant sword on your back, one you can pull over your shoulder in case things get heated. You never know what kind of trouble lurks around in the mall map, so be on your toes. You have a wicked cool chest piece, maybe a top or a coat, jacket. You have some sashes on your left arm that flow with the wind. You have belt buckles all over the place and straps that go crisscross all over your body, and maybe a few extra chains for some flair. Now imagine you have spiky hair. Doesn't matter the color, it can be your favorite color. And you have matching color eyes. With that image of you, you look like a real-life anime character. And it doesn't have to fit the description that I gave you. It can be whatever you want. But for the purposes of this experiment, imagine yourself in that position. Think about the outfit that you're wearing. Feel the gauntlets on your arms. feel your boots clicking against the marble flooring as there's no break lines for tiles. It's all one smooth floor. Think about how your hair is waving lightly as you walk. Feel the warm air of the mall. Imagine the kids and parents walking all around. Imagine the teens hanging out at the food court, listening to Muzak, the soft music that they play in malls. And look at the titans of escalators that go up from floor to floor, almost never ending. Artificial potted trees and plants are littered throughout the mall. It's just you, and you're walking. Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel confident? Are you smiling? Good. I hope so. Now, look to your left. No, your other left. You see that? You see the look on the kid's face? That is the look of pure horror, you monster. Look at how many people are taking pictures of you on their phones and laughing. Look at the kids confused on why the hell you'd go to a mall looking like that. All the girls are giggling and all the guys are making fun of you. You can't quite hear what they're saying, but you can only imagine. A security guard comes up to you and asks if you're feeling okay. The world that was once bliss is now your worst. You feel insecure, you feel like a freak, and you feel like everyone is staring at you, because they are. They are staring at you. Now, let's do the same exact scenario again. Let's run that back. Let's do the same exact scenario again, but imagine you have 3 or 5 other friends with you. We'll say 3 in this experiment, just for the sake. You got 3 other guys, or you got, another 2 other guys and a girl, or 2 girls and another guy, who knows. You got 3 other people with you. Dressed in the same bizarre, over-exaggerated, really cool anime-esque attires. Maybe one of your friends has spiky red hair with goggles on his head, and maybe the girl to your right is wearing a very alluring mage or centaurian outfit. Overly tall with large boots, skirt that's a little too small. Her shirt is perfectly cut to her waist, and your other friend beside you is all dressed in black, and he's got jet black spiky hair, and he carries ninja stars or something. Now the 3 of you are running around the mall, your boots echoing soft clicks and shoe pats of the ambient music. Feels like you're inside a video game, or some kind of majestic world, something surreal. You don't walk, you jog, or run through the mall. Your friend to your left jumps over the edge of a fountain and walks along the edge. He jumps on a small marble wall divider, then leaps down next to you, in a fluid motion, almost as if he's like a cat or a wild panther. The mage on your right, while jogging next to you, giggles and dances, twirls and spins occasionally as she runs next to you. You 3 are adventurous and free. The odd looks don't feel so odd anymore. The photographs aren't to mock you, but to capture a moment, to capture a group of friends on an adventure that they go on every day. Today, they just happen to be at the mall. People are smiling when they see you, or maybe they don't even notice at all, but it's not just you now. There's 3 instead of 1. How does it feel? Feels pretty good, right? It feels good to have friends. It feels good to have a colorful world with colorful people, and especially if your friends are just like that. Open, colorful, and like an anime character. It's all perfect. Wouldn't that be a dream come true if you could just sit on the railing sit on a railing with your best friends, having your group's favorite dessert? Imagine you're at the mall and you're sitting on the 5th, 7th, or how many high floors, and you're sitting on a railing, joking with your friends, lightly shoving each other as you eat ice cream or frozen yogurt or a pastry, even cake, to live life on the edge with no regrets. You see, no one does what you just did in this experiment alone. No. They have friends who do this kind of stuff with them, and suddenly it's normal, and it feels right, and it feels amazing. And backtracking to looking at what SAO did, if you told me that this was the beginning of the decline of anime, I would have laughed and said no, but I'm glad I didn't, because it was. After SAO, very long, too long of a line of modern anime began to focus on the shonen genre. And for those who don't know or are new to the anime genre in general, shonen essentially is the equivalent of zero to hero, or from nobody to something. The formula now took what SAO cashed in on, which was what people wanted deep down, and how they could make it relatable to those watching, and pasted to every single anime that's been created thus far. The boy is attractive, the boy is flawless, the boy is perfect at whatever he's passionate about, the boy is unstoppable no matter what because it's an anime and everyone wishes they could be pushed to all mental, physical, and psychological and emotional limits and still come out on top. The boy is stubborn. The boy unlocks great power of light or importance. The boy gets sent on a quest to achieve some sort of goal. The boy ends up with a cliche character trope. The boy meets girl or girls, falls in love at first sight. The boy goes on epic journey and adventure. There is good times and bad times. The character trope fighting, and then they make up and band together to defeat a bigger evil or foe. The girl kisses the boy before the evil has been defeated, or maybe after. And they all live happily ever after. These are illusions that are not real. These are this is a crafted formula, and these are things that have been crafted into a formula by the creators that target the age of the audience they are trying to capture. Unfortunately, people are going out of their way to make this fairy tale lifestyle a reality. And I understand that you can't really escape the cliche formula, and I know that even as a creator, I too take elements from that, and I know that this formula is what can make a good story, but the difference is I know when to push the formula and pull away to create a unique work of art. With today's anime, it's all the same, and there's no balance between push and pull. It's all push. Look, I'm a 100% supporter of escapism and wanting to create something of yourself, but being jealous, harboring it, letting it marinate into envy is unhealthy. And unfortunately, there are too many people who have fallen into this. Within the years of 2013 to now, there is a plague of people who are so envious of these over-perfectionized characters that they have gone to the lengths of fully becoming them, or one of their own, an original character. At one time, anime was a fantastic art form, a world filled with color and life, a world where no one cashed in on what people wanted deep down. It was about telling a story that people could emotionally get bonded to and feel the full strength of the human heart at full effect. And after the end of each emotional journey where the main protagonist wanted to fight for something so bad he would do whatever it took in order to gain his dream, but it wasn't his dream. It was his destiny. You could feel like you were a part of it too. Nowadays, everyone thinks they have a calling, or a destiny, or some kind of adventure to go on, similar to Luffy from One Piece, or land to explore like Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist, but those do not exist. You may not believe me, but in modern day society, it's gotten to the point where people truly believe they can be these characters or be like an anime character and live an anime lifestyle. There's a YouTuber I watch who goes by the name of ZoomZike. I truly admire him as a creator, and I absolutely am amazed by his work and the content that he uploads to his channel. At first, I wasn't a big fan. He had a few, maybe one or two videos that really popped, but everything else just kind of put me off. But once he made more in-depth with longer running time videos and really showed he had a talent for commentary, I couldn't help but subscribe. I fell in love with his content, and I truly do admire how he does his videos and what he's passionate about, and it's inspired me to make videos on what I'm passionate about. However, for the purposes of this video, I'd like to point out a video of his. Now, Zike, if I may, there was a video called A Genius's Perspective. No life, no game. Or, excuse me, no game, no life. Wow, don't want to butcher the title here. And within that video, ZoomZike talked about how much he idolized the main character, Sora. No, not from Kingdom Hearts, unfortunately. An ultimate game player who was the perfect player, who knew all the ins and outs of whatever board game or card game was set in front of him. And he was an impeccable leader with radiating inspiration, just oozing charisma. In the video, ZoomZike explained how the idolization of Sora led him to be a better version of himself, and how his praise for Sora allowed him to become the very person that he is today. And one thing I will say is, I appreciate that. However, not before going through what we've been talking about for a while now, which is a point I've been trying to drive home on why my relationship with anime is complex, is that people want to physically be these characters. In his video, he openly admitted that he wanted to dress like Sora, be smart like Sora, read what Sora read, play what Sora plays, even go so far as to mimic Sora's personality. This isn't to attack ZoomZike. No, if anything, I praise him openly for admitting that he went through this transformative process, and this is a phase that he went through. I admire someone who can own up to something like that. Although I feel it's toxic and horrible to do yourself, that helped him become a better person and in turn share that chapter of your life. But I want to point something out. ZoomZike isn't the only one who's done this. There are plenty of people on YouTube, social media, and in real life who are wanting to be these fictional characters due to the perfectionism and the constant rubbing of faces in terms of being able to have what other people can never get. If you haven't heard already, I highly recommend watching videos on YouTube about the Final Fantasy house. I'll leave links to that and ZoomZike's channel in the description below. In short, for those who are unfamiliar, the Final Fantasy house is the name given to an apartment rented by two individuals referred to as Genova and Hojo, specifically names taken off Final Fantasy VII in Pennsylvania. Genova, or Gen for short, believed and convinced others that they were actually video game characters reincarnated into the real world. Now, of course, I am using this to back up my claims that people truly do believe this, and her situation was completely different because it turned into a cult and there was psychological abuse, but the fact remains that there are people in this world who truly believe that they are these people is prevalent within our society. Sure, there are times where, where I say, man, if only I had hair like Sora from, Kingdom Hearts. But back on topic, it's a shame that people are so unhappy or at such a loss and defeat that people, should be happy. People should be able to like who they are, not worship and idolize fictional characters. Again, sure, there were times where I say, man, if only I had hair like Sora from Kingdom Hearts, if only I was as athletic and fast as as Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, if only I was as strong as Kiryu from Yakuza. And there was a time in my life where I researched how to make your hair, how to make your hair like an anime character to boost my self-esteem. Turns out there's a way. There's an anime hairstyle salon, or exactly there's many of them in Japan, that will style your hair to your own custom anime hairstyle, whereas in the States we need wigs and cosplay outfits. Eventually I stopped looking into these things as the likelihood that I'll be as athletic as Kiryu or have Sora's hair or be as fast and good looking as Cloud Strife is slim to none. I'm not saying it's impossible, but more than likely for me, it's unachievable, and for others too. And as much as I have my insecurities, as much as I am self-conscious, and as much as I am doubted by many, I've learned that these things that you want, the spiky hair, the athletic build, the toned body, the strength of an ex-Yakuza member, it all comes with money, location, looks, dedicated friends who are willing to achieve the same thing you want, social media, self-motivation, and spending countless hours researching how to obtain these things. None of this is healthy, and as long as there's envy, as long as there's that want, as long as anime creators and publishers like Bandai Namco and Shonen Jump continue to push the cliche formula and rub it in people's faces by making people worship these fictional characters, the toxicity of anime will always exist. It's not all their fault. It's not. There's also a large problem within our society of people blurring the lines between facts and fiction. I'd tell you stories, but knowing how they are, they're definitely better for later videos. But it stems from the fan base of anime, which is toxic on its own, and the publishers cash in on that idolization. They think, oh, it's just appreciation for the art, but it's not. It's appreciation that's gone too far. Anime has taught us a lot of things. That true love and the power of friendship is stronger than any evil that threatens the light. That anyone and everyone can do something special. The key to success is sharing your dreams, keeping a positive attitude no matter how bad things get, and the will to push you closer to your goal. And that teamwork, adventures, smiles, and self-growth is what make up a hero. And everyone wants to be a hero, or in some cases a villain. But no matter what side you choose, sometimes just accepting that these conditions of how these characters are made and what setting they are under isn't enough for people. They can't live with themselves. That they too won't get to see rare sights, run up a skyscraper, enter a dungeon, meet quirky and unforgettable characters, find true love where the girl or boy is incredibly attractive and has incredible stamina, an expert fighter, and has high morals. They too won't be able to go on an adventure where you have to fight for your life every day, and with the power of friendship and wanting something so bad you'll do anything to achieve it, you too are able to achieve your dreams. This only happens in anime. It doesn't help that we live in a society where people want to become someone else, and they begin to act this way online and in person. And to top it all off, multi-billion-dollar corporations look at this as dedication and creative work that these wonderfully talented people make. But there's a dangerous line between praise and envy. And with the lines as blurred as they are, people will continue to take that path that leads them to live a false reality. And that is why I have a love-ex-hate relationship with anime. I can finally lower my keyblade with sweat beading down the left side of my face, hunched over, huffing and puffing for air as the dance of inner conflict has been resolved. I can now stand over my defeated adversary with content. As the battle music comes to a close, I walk away with a light limp, holding my right arm with my left hand as my keyblade dangles down from my right, my fingers just barely holding the handle. With a tightly closed left eye and a few beatings to take as trophies, this chapter of my life is now complete. Thanks for watching.